We from Philly.
If you don't know, we run these streets the same way the birds run that NFC East. Giants is weak, Skins is trash. Cowboys every season whoop that ass. Look, it ain't no competition. We here for those who listen. Want nothing but the facts. That ego coalition. We could give two fucks about your trash ass team. Our concern is about that black, that white, that midnight green. The feathers on the helmet, bruh, our hearts indebted. Fly Eagles fly, what it's about, bruh. I said it. Look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
The Falcons break from the huddle. Jones wide right.
Where is Julio?
Sanu in the slot. Lone receiver to the left. Ryan with Coleman to his left. Ryan rolls. Ryan pumps. Ryan is throwing it up in the air. Incomplete! Incomplete! Intended for Jones. Incomplete! And the Eagles take over on downs with 58 seconds left.
What an unbelievable...
We all we got! We all we got!
We all we need.
We all we got!
We all we need.
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live, broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to the 4th and Jawn NFC Championship Game Show. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, boys and girls, we are 60 football minutes away from the big dance. I'll say it again. 60 football minutes away from the big dance. And hey, what did we say last week? We're going to take it one game at a time. But what an unbelievable journey we've been on as Eagles fans. Week 1, winning against the Washington Redskins, getting that monkey off of our back. And then week 2 against Kansas City. Ooh, Dougie, what are you doing? Oh, I don't know. Are we going to see a replay of next year? And then beating the Giants on a 61-yard field goal, having a 9-game winning streak, and then going to Seattle. Ooh, I don't know if we can play these tough teams. I don't know if we can play these playoff caliber teams. And then with a chip on their shoulder, going and taking over Los Angeles and beating the Los Angeles Rams. Oh no, but Carson goes down. Carson goes down, our hopes and dreams and our hearts just sink down to the floor. Nicky Foles comes in, they beat the New York Giants, but that defense, oh, I don't know about that defense. The Oakland Raider game on Christmas, oh, I don't know about this. And then a meaningless game against the Dallas Cowboys. Ugh, you get the bye week. And then what happens? What did I say last week? You take it one game at a time. And now we are knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, but we are going to take it one game at a time. Control the things that we can control, all right? And catch some lucky breaks with some things that we can't control. Bringing in the Falcons was one of those lucky breaks that we got. And I firmly believe that we dodged the bullet by not playing the New Orleans Saints. Because we are not built to get in a shootout with a quarterback like Drew Brees. We have such a better matchup against a team like the Minnesota Vikings, because this is going to be a pound-for-pound heavyweight fight. This is not going to be Muhammad Ali, a lot of finesse, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. No, this is what's called a slabanaka, all right? This is going to be a heavyweight fight, a slabanaka, S-L-O-B-A-H-K-N-O-C-K-A-H, slabanaka. And we are on the cusp of going to the Super Bowl. But let's take it, once again, one game at a time. We all we got, we all we need. Mr. Gale Saunders, how are you feeling today, baby? Knowing that your team's one game away from the big dance.
I'm feeling great, man. As I sit here, the Kelly Green wearing Eagles fan that I am, just sitting back and thinking about this whole season. And then, when this team was 8-1, You know, I wasn't afraid to say it with my fucking chest that this was a Super Bowl caliber team, and I meant it. I had that gut feeling. I still have that gut feeling. When we were sitting here distraught when Carson went down.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about the plans and what are we gonna do? And Carson and Nick Foles, and we talked about a serviceable Nick Foles, a good defense, and running the ball. You know, we could win some football games. Nick Foles has won three games in a quarter for this football team.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Nick Foles is our quarterback, and we actually have a shot to win the Super Bowl. You know what
With
I mean?
Nick Foles.
With Nick Foles. So I'm asking you, do you believe that this team is going to win a Super Bowl? I mean, do you guys believe that this coaching staff can scheme up one more game to win this game and go to the Super Bowl? And do you guys believe in Nick Foles?
Everything in my gut. Like, look, we're fans. That's all we are, is fans. So there's a little bit of homerism already placed within this show. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, we're going to pick the Eagles, all right? But everything inside of my gut, my football gut, tells me that this is the Eagles' game to win. Because you take a look at what the Minnesota Vikings did on that last-minute play. What an unbelievable play by them. Good for them. That'll go down as one of the most memorable playoff games, most memorable playoff plays in all of history. People will be talking about it for decades. But speaking about another play that happened that we've been talking about, for just about a decade, I can remember once upon a time the Philadelphia Eagles playing in a divisional playoff game against another Hall of Fame quarterback. What was his name?
Brett?
Yeah, Brett. And I think it was late in the game, and the Eagles were behind, and I forget what down it was.
Fourth.
It was fourth down. And if I remember correctly, they had a
far way to go.
Yeah, there was a long ways to go. How many yards exactly?
2-6.
4th and
Too
20.
fucking easy.
And we made it. All right. now take that 4th and 26 game and multiply it by 5. That's exactly what the Minnesota Vikings just did. So they just had their miraculous moment of the season. Now the Philadelphia Eagles, if you remember correctly, after going and beating the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round, lost to the Panthers. All right, in the NFC Championship game. As soon as that play happened, I'm looking at the Vikings going, oh, look who blew their load a little too fucking early. Because we talked about this in this show during that run of 9 games. Are the Eagles peaking at the wrong time? Are they peaking too early? Because that happens in the NFL all the time. Well, it turns out they lose against the Seattle Seahawks. They go in with a chip on their shoulder and beat a good team. It's amazing what will happen when people start doubting this team. And then Carson goes down. And then people start doubting them again. They look at the Giants game. Yeah, Nick Foles had 4 touchdowns. That defense looks like shit. And then they go against the Raiders. Nick Foles looks terrible. Doubt. I sincerely hope that the national pundits out there, all the talking heads, all the analysts don't say a goddamn good thing about the Philadelphia Eagles. Skip Bayless, do not use the word Eagles and win in the same fucking sentence. I don't want to hear you nothing but shitting on the Eagles. Same thing goes for anybody else out there. You know why? Because it puts a little chip on their shoulder. And it's amazing what this team will do when they have a little chip on the shoulders. Again, everything inside of my football gut, from the things that are happening on the field and off the field, tells me that this is the Eagles' game to win. Working the social media is our boy Philly Mike. Philly, how you doing?
Yo, Saturday was unbelievable. The tailgate was top notch. Probably one of the best tailgates we've had by far. Me, Lacey, Chad, and my girlfriend Amber, we were trying to go to Xfinity. We went in around, 2:30? We couldn't even get in. The line was ridiculous. So we literally had to watch the game, stream it through Chad's phone in Lacey's car to watch the game. It was that ridiculous. But overall, it was unbelievable atmosphere. Thank you for everybody that showed up to the tailgate as well.
Yes,
And
unbelievable time.
the tailgate for this coming week, though, guys, NFC Championship, 4th and Jawn tailgate at home.
Yeah, I mean,
Lot of mercy. Lot of mercy.
You could not ask for a better situation, tailgating-wise, than the NFC Championship game. You don't host the Super Bowl in Minnesota. Don't get your fucking hopes up, by the way. You don't host the Super Bowl and have a tailgate in your own stadium. This is going to be the biggest, the rowdiest, the most unbelievable tailgate. Lord only knows what's going to happen because
Jaeger bombs.
Oh, it's going to be off the hook.
Baptisms.
I mean, when you've got Good Morning Football at the tailgate and then Monday morning talking about it like this.
Okay, you guys want to see something? I survived the F1 parking lot. You ever been to the F1 parking lot?
What is that?
Show the picture. This is how they get down. That is the Pope or something like that in a Wentz jersey.
So what do they say?
They get up there on the holy ladder. That's, by the way, it's called the 4th and Jawn is their party group. They get up there and they say, to Howie and Doug and the Ginger Jesus, Carson Wentz, drink, and they all do shots. And they're trying to get me to do it. I'm like, I'm not going on the holy ladder. I love you guys, but I can't do it. And
he wanted to. He wanted to.
I'm walking in the parking lot, and I bump into Kyle Brandt, and I'm like, dude, thank you for that rant. You were bringing the heat this week. He's like, dude, you know where the 4th and Jawn tailgate is? And I'm like, what? We are 4th and Jawn right over here. He's like, I was on Twitter, and everyone was asking me. I was asking where to go for a tailgate, and everybody was telling him 4th and Jawn. And he just showed up with his brother and his bro. They had a couple beers, watched the baptism.
Watch a Cowboys baptism, by the way.
Yeah.
There was a guy wearing a Cowboys jersey. Now, this was punishment for a fantasy football. He lost his fantasy football league. But we exorcised the demons, and he was allowed to take off the jersey after the baptism. By the way, I need to find a new cane because that jersey actually broke. I don't know if you saw the video of that.
I saw
that broke. I need to find a new, holy
Did you get that at the Masquerade place over there? Is that where you got it
No,
from?
but I stopped there today. We'll talk about it. We're gonna get into the whole dog mask thing. Joining us in studio, very special guest and a veteran of said 4th and Jawn tailgate, Mr. Classic Jeff. How are you today, sir?
I'm flying. I'm on cloud 9. I got to tell you, I want to talk about just real quick what I wrote after Wentz went down because I know we all had that moment of doubt right there. And I'm flying home and I'm sitting on the plane and we're exhausted. We all left it there in L.A. and I figured I had to write something. So I wrote down, there's a quote that we all know from Shawshank Redemption said by Andy Dufresne. Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. And right now, every Eagles fan needs to be reminded that despite all the adversity we face this season, we still have hope. And that was it. We still had hope. And like you said, Foles came in.
I love it. I love it.
It's everything. It's every doubt. It's every person outside of here that says you can't do it. It's Lane Johnson at the end of the game when they won, putting on that dog mask. And now we're going to continue to embrace that role. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was already tweeted out by Bovada that if the Eagles win this Sunday to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we are a 3.5-point underdog in the Super Bowl.
Good.
To the New England Patriots, we are a minimum 7-point underdog.
Good. Now, I don't want to hear anything other than because we saw when this team was feeling themselves, and we saw how it came to bite them in the ass. No pun intended with the dogs, but it bit them in the ass when they went out and played Seattle. I want this team feeling disrespected. I want this team. I said it on an earlier show, and I can't even remember when, but it was, we've seen this team play with swagger. We've seen this team play with confidence. I want to see what happens when this team plays angry. And so far, in the playoffs, in that divisional round, you can't tell me that defense didn't come out playing angry. And getting back to the Minnesota point, I mean, listen, the Vikings there, they had everything break right for them. The Philadelphia Eagles had to earn that victory. They made mistakes. Whether it's Ajayi fumbling or I believe there was a fumble on the punt, stuff like that, missed opportunity. Elliott misses a extra point. Things didn't necessarily. Oh, and that freaking Fugazi helmet, the hit in the end zone.
McLeod.
Oh, that was terrible. But they had everything breaking kind of wrong for them, and they still found a way to fight.
Which good teams do.
Which good teams do.
And one thing that excited me the most is, Fletcher Cox, everyone knows that he got all that money. And we're talking about X factors last week.
Yes, sir.
Fletcher Cox, man. He came up big. He showed you why he gets that money. So those people who were questioning him about OTAs back in the day or how much money he made, he showed you he's worth every penny.
100%.
Fletcher Cox, he balled out, man.
Fletcher Cox, 90% of the snaps on Saturday.
Yeah, he needs to be in there. But the
Jernigan, all those guys, all the frontliners.
The attitude of this team, I mean, couldn't be in a better place. They're not feeling themselves. They're not sniffing themselves. Whether it be the "we all we got, we all we need" chant, whether it be Doug Peterson in his press conference referencing it. Evan, go ahead.
That way all season. When did Carson go down?
Week 14, December 10th.
Okay, since that point, no one's given us a chance.
Damn it.
Nobody has given us a chance. And I understand Carson's a great player, but every week our guys are hearing the same thing, that now we're all of a sudden not good enough. We're 13-3. We had the best record in football. We're, home field advantage throughout. Listen, there's not a lot of, the guys are going to motivate themselves just based on what they've done for them and heard for the last month of football, Listen, it really doesn't matter what you guys talk about, because that locker room in there is united, and I'll go to bat for every one of those guys, and I'll go to war with every one of those guys in that dressing room.
What a mindset. What a mindset to have in the playoffs. We all we got, we all we need. The underdog. Doug Peterson, by the way, the whole underdog thing, everybody loves an inside joke. A lot of this show is based around the inside joke, and either you're in on it or you're not. And if you're not in on it, you want to be in on it.
Got to read it on the Slack channel.
Trust me, we'll get there. We will certainly get there. But that's the type that is a mindset that you need in the playoffs when it's you versus the world. And that inside joke, I love the fact that Lincoln Financial Field, after your boy kind of tweeted it out there. But I love the fact that Lincoln Financial Field and the Eagles were like, you want to wear the dog mask inside the stadium? We have a no mask policy, but you go right on ahead because it's for us. Mm-hmm. It's for us. It's not for anybody else. It's our little inside joke, and it's basically us sticking our middle fingers up to the rest of the NFL community and the rest of the world and the rest of the talking heads going, listen, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine as the underdogs, because this is the city that invented the underdog.
And you want to talk about home field advantage? Here's a couple nuggets right here. The past 4 seasons, the home teams in the conference championship games, they've been 8-0. In the past 40 games, the record is 28 wins, 12 losses, or 12 losses. That's home field advantage, and conference championships are huge.
Yes.
And you better hope the Eagles take full advantage. Like even with the defense, here's also another nugget. Since 2016, the Eagles defense at home, they're number 1 in allowing points per game, number 2 in causing turnovers, and allow the 3rd worst quarterback rating by any quarterback that faces us at the link. Unreal. As long as the defense comes to play, I don't see how we lose.
Love it. Love it. Next up is our boy. I think we're going to call him Hollywood from here on in.
I understand.
It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood Evan. How are you today, sir?
Just tweet me your addresses, and I could just send the autographs right to you. Don't worry about a thing.
Speaking lines on the Football Fanatic.
So this is the first tailgate I've been able to make it down to in a long time. You guys know I'm not able to make it that often, but it was absolutely electric. Like, the atmosphere down there was just unreal. There's nothing better than just getting to meet everybody that you talk to on Twitter and everything. Just drinking with everybody, having a good time. As far as the game's concerned, that was a gritty freaking game, man.
Yes, sir.
That first half really had me on the edge of my seat and just feeling nervous. But we were seeing the same thing that we've been seeing all season with this is Doug Peterson's halftime adjustments. This dude comes out, lights a fire under his team's ass at halftime, and they come out a completely different team. Now, with the Eagles and everybody talking about us being underdogs and things like this, wouldn't it be the most Philadelphia thing? This is the most unconventional route to the Super Bowl. Yeah. You never would have expected it. So always expect the unexpected. Just when we think that we were out for the season, Wentz goes down, just we get there in the most unexpected fashion. If Foles and Bortles can be in the Super Bowl, we have a serious chance of winning the goddamn Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Nick Foles has been able to avoid the fatal mistakes and turning the ball over. He's put the ball on the ground a few times, but he's been able to get it back. The one thing that I really need to see more of, and I know he's capable, is Alshon Jeffrey, though. They started to go to him, and he was getting hot, and then they went away from him. I don't understand why they do that. They do that with the running backs, too. But I want to see more out of our impact players.
Well, it certainly is the timing of his plays, too, was certainly appropriate. And it brought back kind of memories of that New York Giants game where they marched down the field using Alshon Jeffrey in the most crucial time in order to get the lead. Alshon, listen, at this point, the chemistry between him and Nick Foles is going to be hard to really develop any further than it is. But as long as he can make those couple plays, those couple clutch catches, especially using play action, which you know they're going to run the rock, you know they're going to do it, that'll be certainly beneficial.
Yeah, I was just going to say, thinking about Jeffrey, that was twice this season that he did that. He caught the ball, 1 second left, stepped out of bounds. He caught it on the Jake Elliott 61-yard field goal from Wentz. He caught that huge pass. And then on the play on third down there, going into the halftime, the exact same play, they ran it 2 times in a row. If you look, I think it was Fran Duffy had tweeted it out, and he broke down an analysis. They ran a levels play back-to-back times. First one, Foles threw it out of bounds over the head of Jeffrey. Second time, Jeffrey undercut his route to cut in front of the defender, ended up catching the ball, going out of bounds with 1 second left. And then the magic man, Jake Elliott, can't kick a ball 15 yards for an extra point. But, you know, the guy continues to set records. I'm sure you guys know his 53-yarder was a rookie record by a kicker in the NFL playoffs. So, again, it's just everybody on the team is making plays at the right time. And, you know, kind of last quick point here, what I loved is the guys that made mistakes early on in the game. So Jay Ajayi with the costly fumble early on. Doug went right back to him. Bremen on the punt where the ball hit him, whether it hit Rasul Douglas or not, you know, he was the guy that came back and actually was the catalyst for getting that field goal because he was able to tip the ball on the blocked punt that got us the good field position. Darby missing a big tackle on the other receiver. Julio. Sorry. No, not Julio. On Sanu. It was Sanu where Sanu broke the tackle. Then the very next play, they tried to run a wide receiver screen to Taylor Gabriel. He tackles Gabriel for a 6-yard loss. So credit to the coaches for sticking with everyone there.
Yeah, you're good.
Credit to the coaches for sticking with everyone there. But it was just an awesome game all around.
Love it, love it. And next up is our official college credited intern. It is Lacey. Our first. Lacey's here.
First ever.
Lacey, how you doing, darling?
I'm good.
Thank
How
you
are
for.
you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for stopping in studio and doing all the show prep work for us.
The quick work.
How are you feeling now that your Eagles are on to the NFC Championship game?
Honestly, I feel kind of speechless.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to feel. Like, I think during the season, this is the first time, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, and I might get heat for it, but I feel like this season was the first season that I've ever felt like I wasn't bored.
I feel you. I feel you.
There were some times in the last few years where I just feel like everything kind of just slowed.
Yeah, towards the end of the season.
And then I just look back at this season, and I can't remember a time where I was ever bored.
No.
You think about all the likable players on this team as well.
I really,
their
like, it's
backstories,
unbelievable.
You know?
The family atmosphere, too. Like, I look at this team, and I think, oh, my God, like, they're brothers. You know what I mean? Like, they're just, the bond is just so strong. I can't.
I was listening to the radio before I got here, and some guy was calling in, and he said his daughter babysits for one of the Eagles players. And, like, she was there one night, and, like, 12 players just rolled in, and they're all just, like, hanging out at the house. And she's like, these guys really like each other and hang out like they're brothers. So that's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for stopping in. We certainly appreciate it.
Anytime.
And congratulations on your official internship. There
you go.
That is awesome. We're gonna get to the phones in a minute. The number to call in is 215-515-2924. And I would ask all the callers that are on hold right now, just stand by real quick, because I feel the need to address something real quick. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because, quite frankly, I don't want to waste my time talking about Gossip Girl bullshit or any other podcast or anything like that. But your boy was a subject on the Crossing Broad broadcast last week. And for those of you who don't know who Crossing Broad is, I'm sure that you do.
Who the fuck is this asshole?
No. We're not doing it. No sound bites, no nothing. Everybody just let me get through this real quick. For those of you who don't know Crossing Broad, I'm sure that you do. They're one of the largest independent sports blog. In fact, I think they were the original independent sports blog, and they have themselves a podcast featuring Kyle Scott, who is the founder of said website. I apologize because I don't have it written down. They have a gentleman from New York who has a raspy voice and drops the occasional F-bomb, which sitting in this seat behind this microphone, I can appreciate. Yeah, totally. And then they have a gentleman by the name of Jawn on that podcast. And for whatever reason, Mr. Jawn doesn't like me, my brand of social media, and how I go about my business. And he took his shots on the podcast. He started the show by doing a little EROCK impression. Jawn, look at you, getting upset that one of EROCK's videos went somewhat quasi, not really, but sort of viral. Jawn, look at you. Reading the comments, taking time out of your day to reading the responses and being upset that the majority of them were overwhelmingly positive. Jawn, look at you. Telling EROCK to tuck his shirt in. Jawn, look at you. Looking at me. Now, again, I don't want to dive too deep into this because I don't feel like my base likes this type of gossipy stuff. And I don't want to talk negatively about another podcast or what I would consider one of our peers. But I will say this about this particular podcast. In my brand of social media, which has been extended here to 4th and Jawn, I have what I would call a play nice in the sandbox policy, which means that we not only collaborate with all the rest of the podcasts and brands out there, but we go out of our way to support them. I have a great working relationship. You see this giant thing that we think about that is Philadelphia sports media, in reality, is kind of a small community.
Small fishbowl.
It is a small fishbowl. So I have great working relationships with some of the bigger identities like NBC Sports Philadelphia. I was just on the 700 level show before I came here, working with Mark Farzetta. We've done things for them in the past. It's a great working relationship. I have a great working relationship with 97.5 The Fanatic. Some of the on-air hosts have been in this studio, like the Bro, like Natalie Eganoff, sat here and spent their time here with 4th and Jawn. I have a great working relationship with Mertitas and Mays, so on and so forth.
Philly influencer.
I have a great working relationship with 94 WIP, some of their hosts there. Spike knows who I am. I don't know if he likes me or not, but Ike Reese I got a great working relationship with. And even when Gail and I were out in California, the WIP morning show was there. Rhea Hughes comes up to me and shakes my hand and goes, EROCK, I love what you do on Twitter, man. You crack me up. I didn't even know the morning show even know who I was. But apparently I got a relationship with them as well. I have a working relationship with all the little smaller independent blogs as well. Our friends over at BGN Radio. I mean, John Barchard, incredibly talented, was more talented on the microphone before he even got picked up professionally than most people were doing it for 10 years prior to that. He is a pro's pro. James Seltzer. I mean, him and I don't even need to say, he already knows how I feel about him. Him and I came up at the same time in the same place. Guys like Teron Davenport have been on this show. Great analytical mind. Has forgotten more X's and O's than I'll ever know in my lifetime. Gail, you just mentioned the boys over at PhillyInfluencer.com. Sean Brace. Adrian Fedque has been in here multiple times in studio. Tony, who I haven't had the opportunity to work with, but he gave us a shout out on their last podcast, and I know that opportunity is going to come, and I look forward to it. The Tony Bruno show. We went to their Christmas thing. You know, the show support. And there was once upon a time here at New Media Studios, when I was taking a tour of the studios, that I came into this in here.
It's our first day, right?
Yeah, and it showed support to the Crossing broadcast. So with this show and in this studio, we are going to play nice in the sandbox because it is far easier and mutually beneficial to make friends instead of enemies. Second point I want to touch on before we move on. This show is a group of fans. That's it. That's all we are. Those of you who are dedicated listeners to this show already know this, but perhaps people who are tuning in for the first time, this is new to you, so I'm going to break it down. We're just fans. Like we're a group of guys who hung out, talked football, tailgated with each other, and decided, why don't we put this, this football and dick jokes on the air? might be entertaining. Gail and I have known each other since the training camp at Lehigh. Mike was a fellow YouTuber. Evan fucking showed up one day. We still haven't gotten rid of him, and now he's stealing airtime on the football fanatic. Cha-ching. You will notice that there's no advertising on this show. We don't do reads. We don't have sponsors. Not that we haven't had offers. Justin has offered me to do reads and sponsorships before, but we've turned them down. I don't know. It's just not our style because at the end of the day, we don't measure our listening audience by dollars and cents. We don't interpret clicks and downloads into dollars and cents. This is a non-profit generating hobby. That's all it is. So to Jawn Broad, don't be mad, bro. Your listening audience, your core audience, which is, as you put it, is the working class 9-to-5 Philly sports fan who doesn't live and die by every score or every play, which I think you're selling your base a little bit short because inherently being a Philadelphia sports fan means you don't fit that, fair weather type of description. Your base is not going anywhere. So I wish you the best of success with your Crossing Broad and your website and your podcast. Don't be mad, bro. We are doing just fine here at 4th and Jawn. And your boy EROCK, look at you. You're doing just fine, baby. You're doing just fine.